Joining me now is New York Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. Congresswoman, it's good to see you. Thanks very much for being here. Turn the volume up. What do you think that means? He wants Trump to have a fight with him, or?
Yeah, he wants Trump to hear this, that he's the new communist, Marxist, anti-Semite, anti-police, anarchist in town. And the results are going to be stunning. I think you're going to see a lot of people move out of New York City. More and more people are going to move out of New York State. We have the highest outmigration of any state in the nation. And it's been going on because of this so-called democratic socialist movement. I mean, it's so misnamed. It's not democratic at all. It's not really even socialist. It's Marxist. It's about authoritarianism. It's about controlling the people. It's, mastering the misery index, talking about giving everybody everything for free. And it's just been proven over and over that it never works. And I just listened to him, and I can't believe we're going to have to deal with 4 years of this soaring BS about, he doesn't say anything. He just talks in circles about, yesterday, today, tomorrow, we're all going to be great and everyone's going to live in this utopia. That's how the people who sell this, the snake oil salesmen, sound. But that's not how it turns out for the people who have to live under this type of rhetoric and regime.
Well, I mean, look, the shutdown it seems to have helped the Democrats. Both parties tried to use the shutdown as a talking point to get people out, and they certainly came out in New York. Do you think that was one key helpful item for the Democrats, the fact that they shut down government and they were able to try to get people to come out as a result of that?
Yeah, I think it really helped them in certain areas. They knew it. That's why they waited. That's why they wanted to inflict as much pain as they could to make it useful for them. Had they conceded early, it wouldn't have been as useful for them. I don't think the Republicans wanted the shutdown. I think we're stunned when we put on a very easy continuing resolution that they'd all voted for, and suddenly, they don't want to vote for it because they knew how important this would be to inflict pain on the voters, and the voters will always take it out on the party in power, and that's what they did. But look, I don't think it's any surprise, Maria. I mean, you're looking at extremely blue New York City, very blue New Jersey, and purpley blue Virginia, especially now with all those workers being out. And I don't think, the numbers were as high because, let me tell you, I'm at upstate New York. Republicans did extremely well in parts of upstate New York. So I think everyone is focused on these races, especially the media. But there are a lot of Republicans that won, and won big, all over my region and up here. So,
well, I mean, when you look at New York and when you look at Mamdani's actual proposals, they're outside of his unilateral mayoral control. So we don't even know if he's going to be able to get any of this stuff done. I mean, some of the things within his mayoral control include intensifying enforcement of the housing codes. That depends on the mayor's authority over city agencies, allowing directives to ramp up inspections or hold landlords accountable for repairs. Accelerating the city fleet electrification, mandating solar installation. That falls under the mayor's power. Enforcing sanctuary protections. That relies on the mayor's ability to issue executive orders and relocate resources, enabling restrictions on ICE access. So we know there's a fight coming with President Trump and ICE. But some of the things that he said are actually completely outside of his control. Like, for example, freezing the rent. That is up to a independent rent guidelines board. The mayor's influence is indirect, and it's limited. Eliminate bus fares, free buses. Well, that requires MTA and state approval, although maybe Kathy Hochul does it. Challenging Con Ed's proposed utility rate increases falls under the State Public Service Commission. Raising corporate or millionaire taxes, revising property tax structures, and implementing universal child care all require approval by Albany. Implementing city-owned grocery stores, free stores. You need the city council legislation for program creation. And raising New York City's wage to $30 an hour by 2030. That's governed by state law. These are all things, by the way, that Andrew Cuomo said that obviously did not resonate. But what do you make of all of these promises he made and actually his ability to do it?
Well, the problem is, Maria, is the rising party in the Democrat-run Albany legislature is the so-called DSA, the Democrat Socialists of America. So those are the people that are going to be the tail wagging the dog. And I wouldn't be surprised if the early capitulator, that would be our governor, Kathy Hochul, is one of the first to go down and endorsed Mamdani and stood up there and did the tax the rich routine with him, then later claimed, oh, I thought they were saying, let's go bills. She's going to be feckless. She's going to go along with this. And she's already signing these horrible bills into law right now that we never thought could really be the nightmare that's being created in New York under her rule. And now with these people leading the charge, A lot of people in the Democratic Party are afraid to stand up to him, as we showed. Look, I think this is going to be a real problem for the Democrats going forward. And when you see the outmigration and the misery index that's going to go way up as New Yorkers leave and there's no one left to pay the bill, the people that are left are going to be stuck with this socialist utopia that always ends poorly.
So do you think these elections last night actually help Republicans in the midterms, help someone like Elise Stefanik to actually win for governor of New York?
Well, I think it's going to have a huge impact on that race. You know, when you talk about the types of things he's talking about in upstate New York, remember, the New York governor's race is always, I think the Republicans always win the vast majority. I think Lee Zeldin won 49 of the 62 counties. I think, Mark Molinaro won even more or as many. It's all about upstate New York and getting Westchester, Long Island, and the city to a minimum level. If he really wreaks havoc on New York City, you may see some of these people turn, but you're also going to see a lot of people leave, which could mean their voter turnout could be low. I think it's a real opportunity for Elise Stefanik. I hope she gets in and gets going, because I think people, look, Maria, I lived in a socialist communist country. I lived in the former Yugoslavia. It's very hard to move away from these policies when you create this cycle of dependency. And then you have all these bureaucrats and agencies that make money off of this, and they continue to grow and fester, and it's really hard to get away from it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're seeing in New York City and New York State.
By the way, what were all these reported bomb threats on Election Day? They forced towns across New Jersey to move their polling locations, shut down schools. In New York City, polling places in Washington Heights, the West Village, parts of Midtown, all got messages of, quote, a terrorist nature, according to police sources, Congresswoman. Your reaction to that?
This is more election interference. It appears to be. We're going to have to investigate these to find out what they really are. And if they're, I'm sure they're, how could they not be connected? They're on Election Day in a vital election.
Yeah.
I don't know where they would be coming from. But look what happened in Pennsylvania. The entire independents, a group of independents in the entire state, were not on the ballot. They are in the voter rolls. Then they went to go vote.
Yeah.
Their names weren't listed. So you got to wonder, where this is. But remember, the Democrats always undermine election integrity, and they always play dirty.
Wow.
We have to have our foot on the gas pedal to the floor if we're going to beat these people, because they've got all kinds of outside dark money on their side. They always complain about dark money. The dark money in politics. And
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders goes on about, they use it exponentially more than the Republicans do, and they take advantage of it. And we're investigating that in Congress. I'd like to see where this money really does come from. There's a lot of allegations and a lot of potential investigations going on. Let's see where this dark money's coming from, because it's all election interference.
I'd like to see that, too, and I'm glad you're investigating that. Real quick before you go, are they beating you now with this government shutdown? Are they going to use last night's results to say, you see, the people want this, we're not going to agree to reopen this government?
Well, they could. And, the thing is, Maria, when you look at places like New York, all that money that they're talking about with these subsidies is really going to just go feed the insurance companies. It's not going to solve the problem. It's just going to be more money, and rates are going to go up anyway. I think rates are going up 17%, even if you gave the subsidies. So why not go to the coffers that we have? Literally, there are hundreds and hundreds of bills, large scale, and individual bills that would fix the Affordable Care Act or the Obamacare.
Right.
We can't get them passed because the Democrats don't want to fix it.
Well,
that's the problem.
Ted Cruz,
and I hear Republicans complaining.
Yeah.
We got to get it out there.
Ted Cruz said that he thinks that the government reopens after the elections last night this week. What's your take? You think we open this week or next week or what?
I think next week. I think right now is probably going to be too short a notice, but I think they're going to bask in their glory of winning, blue wins. I mean, I think they're going to overrate that. It's not as big as everyone thinks it is. I look at upstate New York. We had all kinds of Republicans win in Democrat areas, too.
All right, Congressman, great to see you this morning. Thanks so much. Claudia Tenney
Thanks.
in
Great
New
to see you.
York. We'll be right back.